So This Is Love by 4 Curious Dad on AO3. Episode 30, Chapter 12, Before Exams. After that day in the infirmary, Sero went back to his usual self. He kept that satisfied and dreamy grin on his face all day. Nothing could wipe it off, even being shouted at and blown away by another explosion from Bakugo. This annoyed his friends a lot. They were glad that their funny Sero Hanta was back, but they couldn't stand another stupid grin from him anymore, especially Shinzo Itoshi. He wasn't even in the same class with Sero, and yet, on how wonderful, Sero still find his way to his class, General Department. Just by accidentally knowing something about Shinzo's private life, Sero thought that they were actually best buddies. On the contrary, Shinzo was very reluctant. He purposely showed off his annoyed face whenever he saw Sero, Kaminari, and sometimes even Kirishima pop up in front of his class. Still, he indulged Sero with his constant harassing him and taking about the extra training with Todoroki. He was about to explode when, on the day before their shared training, Sero would come over to Shinzo and shovel all kinds of healthy food to him, make him promise to give them all to Todoroki. Am I your delivery pigeon or what? How he immediately forgave Sero when he brought the most expensive canned food for cats as a bribe. Say, why don't you just come to school and train with us? Shinzo grew tired of being asked for a favor from Sero about keeping an eye on his little lover. You are from the hero course. Of course, Sensei can't say no to extra training efforts. Really? Well, isn't that great? We can have time getting better at our skills. What an excellent idea! Shinzo, let me go tell Sensei and the class. Before Sero could say anything to Shinzo's proposal, Kirishima heard all of it and ran off, along with Kaminari, followed behind, just begging to stop. No, come back, you hard-kneed dick. Never mind, he's gone. Shinzo simply gave up on stopping Kirishima. Do you think Sensei will agree with it? Shinzo scoffed at Sero's question, while checking the nutrition info on the canned food. I don't know, but I guess he will. After all, there is no reason to say no. What Shinzo anticipated turned out to be true. Aizawa agreed to Kirishima's suggestion. It was hard to have some time to consider it, when your student bursted into the teacher's lounge, practically shouting in your face, and forgot that the other teachers, including the principal, are there. They also agreed with it, suggesting that it would be an optional activity for students from the class hero course. Aizawa couldn't even say anything. He just witnessed his regular small training with 2 students turn into a normal battle situation they had during the week. However, he felt good about this. This would be the first step for introducing heavy training to the kids. Recently, waves of villains had alarmed both the authorities and the school board. Sooner or later, they had to apply more safety measures to provide more protection for the students. In the meantime, honing their skills to increase their survival rate was necessary. Isn't this just like a normal class? Shinzo stated the obvious truth when he got into UA this weekend and saw the familiar gym full of familiar faces. Aizawa just sighed and started his briefing with President Mike, who came here voluntarily to help. To coordinate the class, Sarah looked around and successfully spotted the dual-haired in the crowd. Todoroki was surrounded by some of the UA members. He looked awkward and overwhelmed with the attention that he got, and yet his eyes beamed with curiosity and enthusiasm. He was really focused and nodding slightly with each member, including themselves to him. It was a lovely and enjoyable scene, until a blonde guy interrupted, screaming on the top of his lung about how wonderful Class B was, about how Todoroki and Shinzo should join them, how Class B would win, whatever it was, before being hit and dragged away by a girl with a transformation quirk on her hand. Todoroki seemed shocked with that scene, but decided to maintain silence when he saw how everyone was kind of used to it. Your lover blends in well with your class. Sero jumps out of surprise when Shinzo creeps up behind without a sound. Shinzo! Shit! You scared the shit out of me. By the way, nice mask. It's not a mask. You'll find out soon. Shinso modified it around his neck. He looks perfectly fine with 1A, don't you think? Soon everybody will be buddies all over each other. You haven't seen him before. Man, he was very distant and icy. On our first meeting, he was even ready for a fist fight. He didn't want me to be around at all and wasn't relentless to talk. It was so hard to make him say more than 3 sentences a day. But now, things got easier and he's more willing to talk. He smiles a lot more too. Really? He didn't seem like that to me. He looks good enough with the class. Not enough smiling, though. Shinso commented at the same time. They saw Tokoyami nod to agree with something that Todoroki had said. Yes, but anyways, it would be wonderful, even funnier, than now when you guys join our class. Who said we would get into 1A? You won't? But technically you should. Class A is shared by 2 members, compared to B. Huh, who knows? That depends on the school board, and well, us. Before Shinso could ask anything, Shinso had put a not mask to cover his mouth and walked to where Kaminari and Jiro were shouting for him. He really enjoyed teasing and giving Sero a panic attack, as a small revenge for what he suffered before. Shit. Sero started at the entrance of confusion and panic until he heard Aizawa ahem behind him. There was a class, training going on. Sero set it aside and focused on warming up. The training session went really well. The Class 1A got a preview of Todoroki and Shinso's abilities, even though they all trained separately with their own assignment. In return, Todoroki and Shinso got a picture of how Class A would be, and how the atmosphere of one Class A would be. Personally, Todoroki loved it. Back to his class, nobody wanted to be near him. It was part of his fault for always showing them the annoyed expression and do not approach vibe, but also because people were scared of him. It was impressive and unforgettable when a freshman slammed a pile of ice and knocked over the school's walls on the first day of school. He was just dealing with a group of bullies that stopped him for some pocket money. At the same time, he was angry and slightly lost control of his quirk. There were no serious consequences, but people still feared him. And with 2 villain attacks perfectly mixed into the rumor, now the whole school had thought that he was a trouble magnet. However, Todoroki didn't know his alone stat would also contribute by a fan club, because he was a number son, and he was cute/handsome, and they wanted to keep Shouto away from other admirers. Therefore, he got used to being alone, and whispering behind his back. For these exact reasons, Todoroki felt like he was really welcome, since everyone here was so eager to talk to him. Moreover, 1A also made Todoroki feel like he could be himself, just like Sero said. They didn't, and tried not to, focus too much on his father, even though he knew he was a pro-hero. Instead, they would ask him his ability, his opinions on UA so far, and they tried to make him like the class. They even told him about all the incidents or silly things Sero did during school, which made Sero scream and come to shoo them away, desperately making them shut up. Of course, Mina and Kaminari couldn't let this chance slide. Even Bakugo joined in with some petty comments. After training session, President Mike urged them to have a small celebration. He gave himself the freedom to confiscate Aizawa's card for bubble milk tea. When the class had already settled inside the shop, Sero got his usual seat next to Todoroki. Todoroki, how's yours? This is my first time trying this, and I like it. It smells good, and it's very fascinating when they have these black things to chew in the drink. Todoroki was happily chewing the tobacco balls from his cup. For the first bubble milk tea, Sero helped Todoroki order a classic one. Yeah, we can go to places like this more if you like, and drink slowly since you don't want to choke on it. Sero grinned and took a sip. Then he got an idea. Todoroki, can I try yours? Well, isn't this an indirect kiss? Sure, here. Prolonged eye contact with Todoroki, Sero slowly got close to a straw. He maintained it when he got the straw, then started to suck on the straw. This will leave something for him to think of. I hope I do look good and sexy enough. True, there was something Todoroki wondered about. Don't suck away all my balls. Sero choked and coughed frantically, making Todoroki hurriedly pat his back. What did you just say? He looked at Todoroki with disbelief. Does he know how misleading that sounds? I don't mind sharing the tea, but I want the bubble, so if you could please not take them all. Do you like Toboka balls too, Sero? Yes, I like them, but hey, you could have some of mine back. Really? I can try yours too. Well then, thank you. Todoroki leaned on and took a sip from Sero's. Yours tastes good too. What is that? Todoroki licked his lips for some leftovers, and it made Sero try really hard to suppress a squeal, and he had to cross his legs to hide a tent rising in his pants. Mine, jasmine with soy milk. That sounds yummy. Todoroki let out a small giggle and came back to his cup and twirled the straw. They quickly became distracted by Bakugo using a straw to blow some of the tobacco balls at the blonde guy from Class B that they met earlier, causing Ida, the class president, to run over to stop an upcoming fight with Midoriya. You know, my brothers used to do it too. Todoroki told Sero when they just quietly watched the scene escalate in the corner of the milk tea shop. You've met my Misan, but you haven't met my other two brothers. I don't know much about them, but every time I saw them, they were playing together and looked so happy. There was this one time they used boba to fight too, just like Bakugo and that guy Monoma did. It looked funny. My oldest chased around the other and just kept shooting him with bobas. But they only stopped when Nissan cried because her hair got so much of it. They had to help remove it. Back then, I wondered what the things were that were being shot, but it didn't look to hurt. Turns out, it's tobacco. It was hilarious and great memory, yet Todoroki sounded really upset and regret. They kept watching Bakugo being held down by Midoriya and Kirishima. Monoma was being dragged away by some girl earlier. Until Sero wrapped his arm around Todoroki's shoulder, pulled him closer, and pushed the boy's head to rest on his shoulder. Todoroki, I think your brothers and even your sister would love to play with you now. And if you want, we could always fight like that too. Just say a word, and we could do it anytime you want. Even easier and funnier with the whole class. Every day will be fun like this. Oh, well, maybe we should pick a place first. It was then they saw Aizawa and another pro hero lecturing the students who created the scene. Sero wasn't the best at comforting, but for Todoroki, this was more than enough. He felt safe, needed, being respected and cared for whenever his cheerful and warm-hearted friend was around. Truly, it was the best feeling he's ever had. Alright, that was sweet. That was also a bit longer than usual. I'm recording this a day ahead. So I'm sitting here and I'm actually taking my time to record. Because I actually have time to record today for some reason. Okay. So, chapter 13, which is the next chapter, is Be Prepared. Summary. Todoroki was excited for his first summer/training camp. While Sero was looking forward to spend time with his crush. Also some Todoroki siblings before possible What do you mean? 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 No! Okay, so we're gonna cry tomorrow. We're gonna cry tomorrow and then the next day after that. Sorry. I'll probably have more time to record tomorrow as well. My boss changed my shifts. Which again, he does this a lot. Technically speaking, by law, him texting me at 8, which is past my, my work hours, is not allowed. He's not allowed to contact me outside of work hours, unless he wants to compensate me by, paying my phone bill. Which he's not, so. Just saying. No, there's a lot of little red flags. Quite literally, I remember my mom told me today, she's like, dude, the little flags that are popping up, like, she low-key wants me to quit. I low-key want to quit. I'm not gonna quit. I'm gonna at least make it 3 months. Right. Ray said I have to make it 3 months, so I'm gonna make it 3 months. And I'm applying to other jobs. If I get a job at another place, I'm fucking quitting and I'm going to that place. Like, no fucking way. There's this one job that I really want to get, which is working with kids, and it's like super cool, and I really want to get it, and like fingers crossed that I get it. But yeah. Anyways, as always, my raindrops, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds. Have a wonderful day or night. Link to my Discord server and socials are down in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.